welcome to another edition of the Gimme presented by Bet365. Why do we call it the Gimme? You guys know why. Because it's good. And now the Ryder Cup is over, but golf never ends. The PGA Tour returns this week, Jackson, Mississippi, the Sanderson Farms Championship. We're going to break it all down, our favorite outrights, props, matchups, first round leader plays, everything you want to know about. He is Derek Farnsworth from Roto Grinders. I'm Jason Sobel from the Action Network. Over the next little bit, we're going to give you all our plays for the Sanderson Farms. But first, Bet365, they don't do ordinary. It believes that every sport should be epic. Every tournament, every game, every point, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself. When you sign up today with code ACTION, ACTION, you'll get $365 in bonus bets when you bet just $1. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 or older only, must be present in Colorado, Iowa, Kentucky, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER in Colorado, Kentucky, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia, or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms and conditions, as always, apply. Let's get to the top of the board. No, this week at Bet365. Your favorite, the only player making the trip from Rome, Italy to what I like to call the Rome of the South, Jackson, Mississippi. I don't even know what that means, but Ludvig Aberg will be dealing with at least a figurative hangover, maybe a literal hangover. You never know how hard he partied in that European team room on Sunday night. He is at 12-1 this week, followed by Steven Yeager. We're going to talk a whole lot about him. He is 18-1. Maybe some people got in at a little bit better number before that went a little shorter. Eric Cole, your soon-to-be rookie of the year, at 20-1. Emiliano Grillo at 25. Bo Hostler, 28. And Keith Mitchell rounds out that top tier at 30-1. Derek, as always, we've been given $100 to bet in our portfolios this week. Let's start with our favorite outrights. Sir, you're up. And I have a feeling I'm going to like where you're going.
Yeah, I'm certainly hoping Aberg ends up having a hangover. And I don't know if I heard more pronunciations of his name or saw more commercials during the Ryder Cup. No, those videos of everyone trying to say his name was pretty funny. But I'm hoping he has a hangover because I do think this is a really good course for him. But I'm going with Steven Yeager, $15 of my 100 at plus 2,200. This is a course that definitely benefits those that have extra length off the tee. I was looking at Data Golf, their course fit tool. I've never seen the little slider so far up towards driving distance over accuracy. So I like Steven Yeager. He's been in good form. Just seems like he's inching closer towards a win. He was in contention a number of times last year. So hopefully he can get it done one of these fall, weaker field events.
Yeah, you talk about those commercials during the Ryder Cup. I really wanted to pick Sam Ryder this week, just like by osmosis. I saw more of Sam Ryder than I saw of any of the players at the Ryder Cup last week. But I am indeed going with my first outright. Same as you, Steven Yeager also got in at 22-1 early on Monday. And look, this is a guy that I have not played maybe ever. I'm not sure that I've ever had an outright play on Steven Yeager. I always look at him as a guy with a very high floor. He's had 14 straight made cuts, but during that run, only a best of a share in ninth place. So he hasn't really seriously contended, but I do think that consistency is going to transcend to a ceiling play at some point. Should have a spike week. I think this is a great week for him. I was talking to you about it, Derek, before we started. Had him on my radio show on PGA Tour Radio a year ago, and I remember asking him, hey, if there's one place we should take you, where would it be? I swear, I believe it was the Sanderson Farms. I think he listed maybe 2 events, and this was one of them, but he definitely likes this event. So I think this makes a ton of sense for a ton of different reasons. Finally, a good number. By the way, 22-1, where he opened right now at 18-1, which is still pretty good. A few weeks ago at the Fortinet Championship, you had Max Homa, Justin Thomas, eventual winner Sahith Theegala, and he was 20-1 at that one. He actually opened at a bigger number against a more inferior field this week, which didn't seem to make sense. That's what had me jumping on him. Where are you going with your second of these outright plays?
All right, my second pick could easily win or miss the cut this week. He's one of the most volatile players on the PGA Tour. Callum Tarrant, plus 5,000. I'm going $15 on him as well. Very long off the tee, makes a ton of birdies. As long as he can string together 4 rounds, I feel pretty good about it. Coming off of a T7 at the Ford Net, and he finished T5 here last year. So we got that nice combination of recent form, course history, good course fit. I really like the number at plus 5,000.
You bring up a great point there at the beginning of that, because I love volatile players for outright plays. I think too often people look at guys who are like, he's playing pretty well, I'm going to take him for an outright. And the guy finishes in 17th place. And you're like, see, he played pretty well. You know what? Doesn't cash anything. There are no consolation prizes when you're betting outrights. And so I'm going to go with the guy that also has a pretty high ceiling, almost won way back in January out in Palm Springs, lost to John Rahm there. But Davis Thompson is a guy that I've had on the radar for a little while now. Again, like you, long hitter and putts Bermuda greens well. That's sort of the combination that I'm looking for this week. He is 45-1. I am going to take 15% of my portfolio on him. He's finished 31st or better in 4 of his last 5 starts. I'm not looking at form very much this week, based on the fact that most of these guys only played 1 tournament in the last month and a half or so, but can't hurt. I mean, if you got some decent form, at least we have more confidence in you moving forward than if you've missed the cut in 5 straight. So I do like Davis Thompson. By the way, another day, it was between him and another Davis, the home stater, Davis Riley. It was kind of going back and forth, but hey, maybe play both of them. Play a little Davis twosome there. So talking about this golf course, Country Club of Jackson in Jackson, Mississippi. It's an old Donald Ross design, playing just north of 7,400 yards. That's why we're talking about driving distance meaning so much this week. Par 72, par 5 scoring is massive at this golf tournament. You've got to make your birdies and hopefully your eagles on the par 5 holes. 3 of the last 4 winners have been 50-1 or longer coming into this one. So might pay to look down that list just a little bit more than we usually do. All right, let's get to the player finishing position market at Bet365. We're going to buy one. We're going to sell one. No. Who are you buying?
I'm buying Nicholas Lindheim, my biggest bet of the week, $20 of my 100. So he's been dealing with a bunch of injuries, but he played 9 events in 2023, at least so far. He hasn't missed a cut. He's won. He's finished 3 other top 10s. He's only played on the PGA Tour once. 8 of those starts were on the Korn Ferry Tour. But when he did play on the PGA Tour at the Wyndham, gained 5.6 strokes on approach. He comes in really good form. And this is kind of the time of year when you want to buy into the Korn Ferry Tour graduates. The fields are weaker. And most of these guys have been playing more than the PGA Tour regulars. So I think it's a good spot for him. Just need him to finish 48th or better.
Yeah, I like that a lot. 38 years old, a guy that's had some injuries, had some struggles, but looks like he's playing the best golf of his career right now. Speaking of playing the best golf of his career, I mentioned Eric Cole before when we were going through the leaderboard, the odds board this week, and he's going to win the Rookie of the Year. They're going to give it out, I think, at the end of the fall portion of the schedule, but it's all but locked up for Cole. I love the fact that this is a guy who plays with some immediacy. He's a 35-year-old rookie on the PGA Tour who plays like he knows he's not going to be out here for 15 more years, unlike some of the 23, 24-year-olds out there. So plays aggressive golf, one of the more aggressive players on the PGA Tour. He's 3rd on the odds board this week, and yet I can get him in the player finishing position market at 28th or better. I'm throwing 15% of the portfolio on there. And oh, by the way, 28th or better in 9 of his last 16. So certainly trending in the right direction. Tough to find a guy to sell this week. Were you able to do it?
I did, and I do like your Eric Cole call, especially because, his biggest weakness is driving accuracy, and that's just not that important here. You can play out of the rough. A lot of the holes are straight, not a lot of tree trouble. So I definitely like that call. I'm selling Luke List, 42nd or worse. For me, this just comes down to a guy that has not been in form since his win at the Farmers. What was that, 2 years ago? He can easily lose 5+ strokes putting at any given time. He is a good ball striker, but that just has kind of left him the last year or so. So I'm going 42nd or worse for Luke List. I'm only putting $5 on it because I hate this market and never get it right.
I hate this market as well. I'm going to fade Luke List in a minute. I'll get there. I'm with you on that one, but I found a guy that I dislike even more than Luke List, and that's KH Lee. I feel like the markets have not corrected towards KH Lee's abysmal play as of late. He has finished outside the top 42 in 9 of his last 10 starts. Most of those have been missed cuts. I know that he's not a huge name. This guy that was on the international team for the President's Cup just a year ago. This game has dropped off, and it's dropped off in a hurry. I am fading him in a lot of different spots. If you can find some matchups out there against KH Lee, I got one in mind. SH Kim, who just contended at the Fortinet Championship a few weeks ago at a very similar number to KH Lee. I think that's a smash play, and I'm going to fade KH wherever I can this week. All right, let's get to our prop plays. Where are you starting?
I'm going to go Nick Hardy, top 20 at plus 280, going $20 of my portfolio on that. He's just been a very consistent ball striker pretty much all year, and lately he's caught fire with the putter. He went through a 4-event stretch where he gained over 17 strokes putting. Now, we know that's the most volatile stat, but I like that he's at least trending in the right direction. Last 2 years at this event, he's finished T5 and T26. So decent form, decent course history, and top 20 shouldn't be too much to ask.
I like that. Nick Hardy, top 20 for you. I'm going Alex Smalley for a top 10, and I'll use this platform now to mention that, I don't know, it just hit me when I was making this play that 10 years ago, these are a couple of guys that, if you're a golf fan, you're like, yeah, I've heard of them. I might have seen some shots on TV at some point. Couldn't pick them out of a lineup. Don't know much about them. But with betting, with DFS, with everything about investing our money into the marketplace becoming more mainstream these days, you know who Nick Hardy is. You know who Alex Smalley is. And so, again, this is why the PGA Tour has invested their time and money into helping legalize gambling throughout the states and having official betting operators, because they understand that the more we invest in their product, the more we become educated and the more we pay attention to everything that's going on. So Alex Smalley is just another example of that. He's got 2 top 10s in his last 6 starts. He's a guy that's proven in this type of field, he can certainly stand up and get onto that leaderboard. Plus 375, by the way, for a top 10 finish. All right, matchups this week. Where are you going with your matchup?
I'm going Steven Yeager over Ludvig Aberg, plus 120. So we're getting plus odds, and I like this bet for 2 different reasons. Number one, we love Yeager. He hits bombs. He's a good course fit. He's played here 4 times, I believe. Number 2, I'm just hoping that Aberg is going to be out of it a little bit. I mean, coming off a Ryder Cup win, obviously went and partied with his team after. Then he has to fly halfway across the world to a course he's never played before. It's going to take some time for his body to get adjusted to the time difference. There's just a lot of reasons why I could see him having a down week. And I think Yeager's in a really good spot. So plus odds for that, I think that's pretty good.
I want to tell that bet. I really do. Ludwig is so good that he could just show up on no sleep and, having 30 beers in the team room and just hit it 335 straight down the middle every time. And that just scares me a little bit, that he's by far the most talented player in this field. If there was no Ryder Cup last week, we might be sitting here going, I don't know, Ludwig at 9-1, 12-1, wherever you can get him might be a good play. But yeah, coming off that Ryder Cup is going to be tough. All right. I told you I'm going to fade Luke List because I liked your fade earlier. And I'm going to take Grayson Sigg at even money over him in a matchup. Sigg was tied for 9th here last year. I think he's the type of guy that I look at him as Kevin Kisner light. Whenever we get to a Southeast golf course, Bermuda greens, Sigg is a guy that I'm looking at for a small investment. And so he's been playing nicely lately. Again, I don't know how much form matters, but he has been playing some decent golf when he is at least playing. All right. First round leader play this week. Let's make some money on Thursday. What do you think?
Oh, would love that. No, it's always a good start of the week if you can get a first round leader. I got $5 on Callum Tarrant, also bet him outright. But again, I talked about his volatility. If anyone plays DFS Showdown, he's one of my favorite targets because he can go out and shoot 6 under. He can go out and shoot 3 over par. He just gets red hot. He gets locked in. He hits every green, and sometimes the putts drop. So I think he's pretty good at plus 6,000, going $5 in my portfolio on him.
Yeah, I like that. Really good dude too. He lives over at Lake Nona here in Orlando, and just a nice guy, a fun guy. He's the kind of guy that I'm hoping if and when, I think it's more when than if, he starts getting on more leaderboards, get in front of the camera and the microphone more often, he's going to be a guy that's a fan favorite because he really does have a great personality. I'm going to go with the guy who is 6th on the PGA Tour this season in first round scoring average. I'm going to give you the names in the top 5. Derek, Scotty Scheffler, you've heard of him?
I think so.
Okay. Adam Scott.
Yeah.
He's okay. Xander Schauffele, Victor Hovland, John Rahm. Those guys pretty good.
Not bad.
So what it tells you, the best of the best are right up there for first round scoring average this season. Number 6, Andrew Novak. Look, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just a coincidence. He does have a 64 and a 65 in 2 of his last 5 starts on the PGA Tour. Maybe the guy just loves Thursdays. I don't know what it is, but I know that the top of that list is a whole bunch of superstar Hall of Fame type players and Andrew Novak. And so I can get him at 70 to 1 this week. I'm going to fire on that. All right. We make a one and done play every week. To those who are in one and done pools that include these fall events, I salute you. I wish I can't get any of my commissioners to run them this time of year, but I love the idea. If you're doing it year round, who would you pick this week?
Yeah, if you're in one, it's a great time to use one of the favorites because you're probably not going to be using one of the guys at the top of the board once we get into the bigger events at the start of next year. So I'm going Steven Yeager for all the reasons we mentioned. We like him. Really high floor. You mentioned the 14 straight made cuts. Good ball striker, good course history. Makes a lot of sense this week.
I love Steven Yeager this week. I'm going with you there as well. I feel like this is going to be one that on Sunday evening, the Action Network and Roto Grinders teams tweet out like, man, we had a double winner on the show this week. Sobel and Farnsworth both picked Steven Yeager, and here it is. We're showing you the tweet. I just feel like it's going to be one of those weeks where we both got him. I am firing all over the place on Yeager. I've got him in every single format that I can find. All right, a little recap. You've got Yeager and Taryn for outrights, buying Lindheim, selling List, prop on Nick Hardy, matchup on Yeager, and first round leader play on Taryn. I've got Yeager as well with Davis Thompson for outright, buying Cole, selling KH Lee, a prop on Alex Smalley, matchup on Grayson Sig, my first round leader play, of course, Andrew Novak. That's all we got, guys. Thanks so much for watching this edition of the Gimme presented by Bet365. Remember, for more content, check out Derek's stuff over at Roto Grinders, my stuff over at Action Network and the Action Network app. For Derek Farnsworth, I'm Jason Sobel. Good luck with all your bets for this week's Sanderson Farms Championship. Here's hoping you guys hit the green.